Welcome back to the Win In Podcast. I'm your host, Max P, and I'm joined today by three gentlemen who they're all TOs in some way or another. And we're going to introduce you guys first. We got Steve, we got Jesse, we got DJ, and we'll get into who you guys are in just a second. But we're going to do kind of a round table where we're going to talk about organizing tournaments, some of the exciting events that are coming up, talk about the ins and outs of putting these tournaments on, what the future holds, and, we're going to get into it. So with that, let's just start by going around the horn a little bit and talk about who you guys are. We're gonna save Steve for last. Because these guys are just blowing his head up, and I want him to come down a little bit, cool off, come on, calm down. So we'll start with DJ. DJ, why don't you introduce yourself and what your history in cEDH is?
I like that. So my name is DJ Links. For a lot of people who aren't necessarily aware, who know who I am a TO, or one of the TOs for New Jersey, in terms of being able to create events for New Jersey cEDH. That's right, I had to put on for the shirt and stuff like that. I love playing Kinnan. I love cEDH. I love organizing events for people to be able to come, compete, play. And Kinnan. Without absolutely big tricks, big flips, big everything. I just need to let that be known.
There you go. And real quick. So you've got a big tournament. All three of these guys have big tournaments.
Yes.
So your big tournament, the Solstice. And
exactly.
I'll flash it up on screen right now, so everyone's face is covered, and all you see is Solstice right now.
Yes.
But go ahead. Talk Solstice real quick.
So Solstice is our follow-up event from Sinkhole, which we had in July. It is a 112-person event with $3K in cash prizes. It is part of our 0.5 season that we have, and where we have players competing all over the state of New Jersey, competing in all different types of events to be able to get points and hopefully be able to get on top of the leaderboard. So by all means, if you're in New Jersey, look it up on NewJerseyCEDH.com, which leads you to the Top Deck site, and where you're able to not only see the leaderboard, but you're also able to sign up for any and all events. So please sign up for December 21st. Solstice, $3,000 in cash prizes. You will not be disappointed. You will be competing against the fiercest competitors, because you know why? East Coast is the best coast.
So Jesse, so East Coast is the best coast? Is that right? Is that correct?
The thing is that I will say there's a lot of you very condensed. So it gives you guys a lot of people to play against. But I think probably for being a pretty sparsely populated scene in comparison, I think Arizona's maybe a little bit better. Maybe just a smidge.
Shots fired, man. Shots fired.
I'm just saying.
Y'all got freedom.
No. Hear me out.
I give you that.
That's our New Mexico. We also have Duke Vitro. We have Nick Clark, but Nick Clark we stole from Steve. So yeah.
Yeah. Fair enough.
We just gotta get a draft going at some point. Just a straight up draft and have teams v teams, the best people you can find, and then you'll know if you get an East. Then we just do Coast. Problem solved. Then we know
exactly.
Then we know.
The thing is, I can't claim West Coast for real because it's such a weird and unique meta. From what I hear, we are far less grindy than the East Coast, but we're nowhere near as turbo happy as the West Coast, and we have a lot more unique brews. Alec is the guy who wrote the Lumra primer. He's from here. We have my best friend Jordan. He came up with one of the an older weird rogue brew deck, TPK, Teamer Polykraken. He's the guy who invented that deck, and then I'm kind of begrudgingly well known for playing stacks, and all I play is stacks.
All right, I'm about to head out real quick. My man said he plays stacks.
Hold on. I played against Jesse at Fishbowl. And he single-handedly dismantled the Atali game completely.
That's pretty tight.
I have never lost to an Atali.
Okay.
That's to an Atali. I've never lost to Rel. I've never lost to Dargo Timna.
Yeah.
And Stack's right.
I love turbo. Turbo metas are my friend. I love turbo metas. They're the best because then I get to go and just eat Swiss alive. It's just the best.
100%.
Yeah. So Jesse, talk about you a little bit. So what's your cEDH background?
Well, I've been playing this game for far too long, but CDH is comparatively is a new thing for me. I've been playing Magic for about 26 years, but I've been playing CDH. I really got into it around 2020 is when I had this problem where I'd build casual decks and my local scene, it was just like, and I would try to make the worst decks possible. And then I was like, they were just good. And then like I got into this friend group and
good or degenerate?
Yeah. like
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then we get into this really spiky friend group where we were just like, we'd do all these challenges to try kneecapping ourselves. We'd be like, all right, every card can only cost $1 at most, or like we'd do $50 deck challenges or stuff like that. And eventually we're just like, why don't we just play cEDH? And I found a deck that I really loved, and yeah, we've just been growing the cEDH scene ever since. Like our cEDH scene when I started with maybe like 30 guys tops, and now our cEDH scene is approaching like 150, 200 people around there.
Amazing.
Yeah, and the best thing is like, and I think that's like one of my biggest things about cEDH is how many people will talk about cEDH and be like, oh, this is cEDH. I'm like, no, it's not. And that's why I started wanting to TO and run events. And I work with two of my friends, and we run this group called Just Jam. We have our biggest tournament yet coming up. It's 304 cap right now, and it's a 20K in the end of May. Our venue is...
What's it called?
It's called Just Jam D-Grid.
Okay, Just Jam D-Grid. All right, so again, up on screen, all of our faces are gone, and all you see is Just Jam D-Grid. Continue.
Yeah. I have to say, you guys do have really great players, but the one thing that I think will beat you out on, and I'm hoping you guys come to see, is we just have the best venue in the entire country. Like, bar none. Like it's just huge.
It's huge. Nah, bro. You might get some smoke from Steve on that one though. I'm gonna let him rock.
Motherfucker, we got a casino. That's all I'm gonna say.
No, it's
so
what I've seen.
When is the tournament?
It is the last weekend of May. So right after Land Go, which I'm excited to say that we're partnered with Land Go. Wayne is a wonderful guy, and what we're doing is we've looked for some TOs, and Steve is one of them. And basically, what we're doing is to promote our event is we're giving away free entry to our event to anybody who wins tournaments that we partner with. So we're partnered with Critical EDH's online league. So for 2 months, I believe the month of January and February, if you win that month, you get a free entrance into our tournament. We're partnered with Steve and the Royal Rumble, which I'm excited because I'm going to do my absolute best to make it there. And then we're working with the guys from New Mexico to partner with them, and we have one more ticket, so we're looking for another TO to work with.
Yo, holla at me. I got you.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, if not DJ too, just throwing it out there. I can send a couple guys your way too if it doesn't work. Whatever works out.
What we're just looking for is, the big thing is we just want to continue the like meteoric and explosive growth of cEDH. Like the last 3 years has been insane. Like it went from like, oh man, there's a 64 player tournament. We're going 3 states across for it. Like now it's like, he's throwing
easily, no matter where you're at. It's crazy.
So one of the things I love about talking to you guys, talking to TOs in general, is just like how passionate you are about the community and growing cEDH in general. And a lot of people, I think TOs are like, or how much money can I make on this event? And it's just not making money. Like it's just not that profitable.
I agree, bro.
Zero money.
I do want to play devil's advocate on that real quick. I don't believe that there's no profit. Obviously, I've seen like there is definitely a side of the profit margin of it, like just from like the perspective of business. But even then, though, like I'll say this real quick, just like before we go into too much, because we're still with Jesse. The Royal Rumble last year was one of the coolest things I've ever done in my life personally. I was like, this is like so sick. And like obviously I made some money, but even then, had I not made money, just if I had the experience of that weekend, I was so tired when I went home that I didn't know if I was going to wake up. Like it's like, you know, one of those things. Like it was just, I was
Well,
like it was one of the coolest weekends, man. So like I love the community, I love the passion of what this game is, and being a player as well as a TO, which I'm sure everyone here knows. It's just like it's the coolest shit, man. It really is. Like it's so fun.
It's like you get like an extra window into the whole entire thing.
Before we go further, I'm holding everyone back just for a minute because we're gonna get into this. We're gonna get into this, but first we gotta introduce Steve. We gotta go to the grandfather of northeastern cEDH in the United States of America, right?
The Godfather.
The Godfather. Yes.
Allow me.
Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, weighing in at the perfect amount of weight, bald from his head to his toes, tattoos on his head for where no one knows. Steve, the Godfather of New England cEDH.
I like that.
Sorry, anyway, I own Kingsport Gaming, Taunton, Massachusetts. We opened up less than 4 years ago, actually, which is pretty crazy. We have been pretty much a pillar, I feel like, of New England cEDH for sure, which has been amazing.
No doubt.
It's crazy how I've heard about you all the way out in Arizona.
That's amazing, man. Like, I actually had no idea, so that's like just super cool to hear. That's really cool. But like, I will say, you know, I got into cEDH myself maybe about 2 years ago total. Like, I was playing like you, Jesse. Like, you were like playing like just like stupid fun decks or like decks that were like bad but not bad because they were just degenerate decks. Like, I was playing like Azami and like causing like great distortion because I'm like, fuck it, I want to interact in my casual pod, and they're like, don't do that. So there's stuff like that. Counterspell, force of will. What do you mean force of will? Yeah, exactly.
Playing interaction in casual is the easiest way to become Satan.
Oh, dude, it's the worst.
Guys, my deck is doing the thing. Don't stop it. What are you doing?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it turned into. It felt almost pub stompy, and I was like, all right, well, what's the next step? And then I was actually kind of cool. I don't know if you guys remember or not when the foil etched lotus petals came out or not. Like they had like the foil etched lotus petals for like the stores that came out with things, whatever. There was like a Friday Night Magic.
A couple years back, right?
So like two and a half years maybe. I had never played cEDH, but I heard there was like a cEDH thing. I looked it up and found people, whatever the case was in the community. And I put like for the first 32 players who walked in the door, got a free Lotus Petal because I wasn't doing standard on Friday Night Magics. I just started pretty much opening the shop like a year before. And so I had like 30 something people for my first cEDH tournament, which was definitely not that. But like I had cEDH players who heard about it, and then it was just, you know, and it was just a never ending. After that, I was like, you listen to the community enough, and they're gonna show because you're giving them what they want, obviously.
Exactly.
So like, it turned in, you know, the cEDH community came out, and I guarantee you, they will never let me go under. It's one of those kind of communities. Like, we have so many new players every month that just kind of keep popping up. I mean, I can't say exactly how many players we have obviously hosted at this point, but it's got to be in the hundreds of cEDH players over the. You know, it's just crazy, man. Like, people come to my store and will say, hey, we've heard this is the place to go when we're in the area for cEDH if they are coming from out of state, which is just super cool to hear.
I mean,
so, but I mean, you know, like, it's amazing.
Yeah, when I went up to Royal Rumble last year, and I got to go to your shop for the first time, I felt like I was like on a pilgrimage. Like that's what it felt like. It's like, I'm here. I see. I'm
home. Yes. So I will say, like, we did just move shops. This is actually super relevant to anybody who's listening, but we did just move shops on October 1st. It's about 5 times the size of my old shop because we needed to, which was fantastic. So we can seat almost 120 people alone, even in the new shop. So we got some big tournaments in the works. So if anyone's listening, just know that's happening. Next year, I do want to make this clear too. I have to plug this because I told Kaiser I would, and it's relevant because he's the one who came to with the idea. We're doing a team cEDH event called the Courtalina Wine Mixer. Okay, it's in the middle of the year next year, and it's gonna be sick. You get teams of 4, and it's gonna be 120 player cap, and we're gonna have some fucking fun. That's all I'm gonna say.
That sounds amazing. That sounds awesome.
It's gonna be sick, man. It's gonna be sick. Royal Rumble 2 is coming up. Electric Boogaloo, super important. Last year we had about 250 something players show for the first Royal Rumble, first large tournament we ever hosted. A little crammed, I will say that. So but you know what? We lived and we learned, and now we're going into the year 2, and we have a room that fits almost like 600 people, but we're capping it at around 4. Got a 20K scaling event. It's at Twin River Casino in Lincoln, Rhode Island. That's January 24th and 25th. So basically, come win some money from playing CEDH, lose some money gambling. Problem solved. Like that's pretty much what we're going to be doing. So I mean, like I'm going to be playing poker. I guarantee you, any profits I make off my play mats, it's going right to the poker table, baby. You can meet me there if you need me. So.
See, every time my plan is every time I get tempted to gamble, I'm just going to go buy a shiny card.
So I mean, that's the long and short of it, man. I'm a guy who loves Magic the Gathering, loves CEDH, loves the community, and just it's becoming a love letter of mine to have this community be what it is. So I'm loving it, man.
Yeah, awesome. And you guys mentioned it earlier, like it's beautiful how much collaboration there is going on. It would be very easy to fall into these sort of fiefdoms where you're like, this is mine, I'm not sharing, I'm not working with the OTOs. And that hasn't happened.
We got to go and like keep cross-pollinating, and like we got to go and kind of push other TOs to feel comfortable doing that. And because when you do that, it keeps the ball rolling, and then it's like just like an avalanche, and then and that's how you explode. I've been amazed with how wonderful and sweet every TO I've talked to, and content creator and big player, everybody's been really humble and sweet and kind, and it just makes me so happy about this community. Because let's be real here, in the regular Commander scene, we're kind of like the boogeyman villains of the world, right? They're like, oh, they're CEDH players, they're super mean. Yeah. And I'm like, I don't know. I think CEDH players are actually really nice. They're usually very sweet.
In addition to that, one of the big things that I do love about CEDH players is that CEDH players, believe it or not, just want to have fun. And it's not saying as if they do it in a sense to kind of like be malicious and all the way people look at CEDH players. They very much are like, nah, I just want to play good Magic, a good quality game of Magic, and not have to worry about like, oh, well, I got stopped. If your friend stops you going like, hey, look, you were able to go find that really good pinch point where I didn't notice, but you were able to get me, that's good. And you want to be able to have that to be the centerpiece of every single time whenever you have an event, which is the reason why for me, I love doing that. I want to be able to create games or have tournaments, that house games where people are able to enjoy it, have fun, and be able to say, I had an amazing time at that tournament. I very much took a really great experience from that. That's why, like, to add to your point, I love that. I very much do love that.
Yeah,
CEDH is dope in the sense of like, I mean, you can really like literally like I've played Max a couple times now, obviously. Like we got the Crit League going on, which again, big shout out to Crit League guys. I just want to put that out there. They're not paying me or anything, but like, bro, what a cool online thing that's happened. Like legitimately, Crit League was like what CEDH needed for like a new step. I think it was fantastic. But like, long story short,
right?
You play some of these
people?
Almost, huge, yeah.
Almost 600,
but you play these people online, and obviously, like, dude, we're all gonna get salty. We all get bitchy. We're card players. Like, it happens. You know what I mean? But like, even at the end of the day, like, you still like, damn, like, well, you got, but like, it's still a great time. I mean, like, even when you feel like you got, it's still fun, man.
I go cry myself to sleep. I get all salty and angry. Then I come back the next day and play more. Like,
exactly.
You fucking stupid. Like, but you have fun with it, man. Like, and I think the best pods, to DJ's story or to DJ's like part here, the best pods you get, man, are the people who literally like, even if you're getting blown the fuck out, you can have fun with those people. Like we have like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and you'd be like, wow, great, 2 lands, sick, and like that shit happens, man. I mean, like,
if you're watching this right now and you're a casual EDH player and you've always looked at CEDH and be like, I'm not touching that, it's too scary, I don't want to go. This is what you need to be paying attention to, because this is the spirit of CEDH. Like, we all fucking love playing this game. Like, there's no other format as complex and interesting to play as CEDH. And when you have that,
there's no other competitive game, to be honest. There's no competitive game that comes close.
And the camaraderie that you form navigating these complex games and then helping each other figure out what you could have done or should have done or where you fucked up, like, that's what it's all about.
The respect on that, the respect on that part.
So go ahead.
The respect on that part is real. I can't tell you how many times where I've seen. So obviously with the New Jersey CEDH, right? We have ourselves a Discord, and people play all the time. We invite new players to constantly come in. Hey, look, this is a resource. You can talk to people, and whenever we're watching games on Spell Table and people are watching, somebody will be like, hey, look, I saw you had this. This is the line you could have did to be able to help you win. And somebody will be like, yo, thank you, I appreciate that. Or even your competitors will tell you, hey, look, this I see where you kind of messed up. If you did this instead of this, you're able to go improve. And that's what we want. We very much do believe in the spirit of respect, camaraderie, and being able to truly be able to better other people. Because you know why? Because if I can make the next person better, it means my experience and play and that whole play pattern becomes better. Like that's what we want. That's absolutely what.
To add on to that, like the thing that I love about it, cEDH, is exactly that point. And what we say in Arizona is steel sharpens steel. So like, if we want to get good, we need you to be good.
Yes.
And we took some players who were like little Timmy going, and I was like, oh, I have an Eldrazi deck. He's like, that's nice, buddy. And then like, I want to learn cEDH with my Ramos Dragon Engine. I was like, oh, buddy, okay. Go ahead and let's play. And then they're like, oh, that doesn't work that way. I was like, yeah, there's this thing called passing priority. And then it's crazy because we do our best to be really welcoming and really kind and patient. Some of these people go from like being pretty mediocre to like kind of that average cEDH player to pretty competent cEDH players in like months.
Yes.
Like I'm talking like 3 months. And
I've noticed the turnaround for like learning is like a lot quicker nowadays with the right group of people. Like again at the shop, again, as being as heavy cEDH oriented as we are, we obviously do a lot of casual commander as well. You know, we try to pretty much connect every dot that we can, and a lot of casuals end up looking and being like, cause like, oh, what are they playing over there? Is that commander? We're like, yeah, but it's cEDH, and they kind of like, you're like, yeah, come on in, come take a peek, like we'll show you. And like we've got a couple people at my store, like there's one person specifically who sticks to mind, this girl Leah, who came in pretty recently, I'd say maybe a couple months ago. They kind of just walked in with like a casual deck, and they saw cEDH, they're like, yeah, I lied, I want to do that instead now, and have built a Marchesa deck, and are doing pretty well. Like overall, like obviously they got a lot to learn still, but like they're getting it. Like, you know what I mean? Like they're still pretty easily swayed by the politics, like when it comes to certain people, or jaded when they like they have Steve blinders a lot of the time to like, fuck you, Steve. I'm like, no, really, I have one land. They have a whole board. Like, yeah, I don't care. I see what you're doing. Like, you know what I mean? But still, but like they're learning, and that's huge, and that's super important. Like, and they're loving it, and like and they're telling the other people who are playing casual, and like, you know, it's turning into one of those where it's like, oh wait, so cEDH really isn't a bad word, because a lot of people see it as a bad word when you're looking at commander players. But again, there's a difference between cEDH players and pub stompers. Yeah. But it's very much close like this, because people will walk into a fucking shop, smack someone around with a cEDH deck, whatever the case may be, and all of a sudden cEDH is a bad word to those people. Yeah. When they haven't had a real taste of what the cEDH community or cEDH itself actually is. And I think that's important too. So just throwing it out there, but yeah.
Yeah, I feel like it's really interesting, because cEDH is kind of like, from the couple of things that I was into, there's a lot of really bad misconceptions about certain hobbies, and then when people actually get into it, it's like, oh, this is so welcoming. Like, I'm really big into weightlifting, and I was when I was younger and less like old, I guess, I was really into martial arts and boxing. And a lot of people think, oh, well, it's like you're into martial arts, so like, well, you just want to beat up people, and actually, like, martial artists and boxers are just really sweet, nice people. Yeah. And same with weightlifters. We just want to lift heavy weights and feel good. A lot of people have these preconceived notions, and once they get in, they get to go and see, oh, cEDH is just like another one of those things where people just really want to push themselves to be good.
Yes.
And to learn and grow. And when that happens, it releases a lot of like endorphins. It makes you happy. When you stuff somebody's play with the perfectly timed piece of interaction, it's just like
Dex player over there.
There is nothing, and I mean nothing better. Nothing better, because to DJ's point, I'm also a Kinect player. So to DJ's point, there is nothing better than having a flood caller on board and flashing in a basalt at the just right moment. That's all I'm saying. Nothing better. Okay.
All right. So let's shift away from the We Love cEDH festival for just a minute, and I want to try to go around to each of you and ask a couple questions and try to get some discussion going.
Got you.
You know, we love cEDH. Like that's clear. There's so many good qualities of it, but there's also a number of challenges, particularly when it comes to tournament cEDH, right? And what I want to ask you is, I want to ask you each, what do you think from a TO's perspective is the biggest challenge you have when it comes to cEDH and the way the format is structured? And we'll start with DJ. Put you on the spot.
No, honestly, and this is, I know For me as a TO, the biggest challenge that I have to face is with time. And the reason why when I say about time, I say this in the sense where I want to ensure that whenever players are playing, they always feel that they have some level of autonomy in the game. Meaning they'll be able to influence based on a game action or being able to just do something to know that they've contributed to the outcome of the game. When you have players that like, and I'm willing to admit that sometimes I'm a bit guilty about this, but I've now become a lot more conscious of it, especially since I'm now being a TO, is whenever there's a conversation going on about particular things and someone decides they want to take up the entire conversation or take up a lot of time that could have been used in the round for them to be able to find a solution or be able to take a game action to continue the game, it does ruin the play experience. And one of the big things that I try to do at least is inform players of their rights. I get to inform them saying that, look, if you believe that somebody is talking too much or trying to politic too much or take up too much time, call a judge. If you feel that there's some type of infraction or something or another that's going on that you're not aware of, yet you think something's going on, call a judge. Just, the biggest problem and that's why I say it's about time, where it's, oftentimes there's just this thing in where players are doing certain things, or where they're angle shooting or whatever to try to be able to take advantage of a situation, yet because people aren't necessarily informed or knowledgeable about certain things, you just have individuals who are trying to manipulate the game in a certain way in their favor while actually just not playing the game. The big example was that I had gone to Japan back in September, and I had actually played not only at a few stores for Hyrule, but I had also played in a tournament the last weekend I was there. And I gotta tell you, these individuals just believe in taking a game action, pass, game action, pass, game action, pass, game action, pass. No conversation, no nonsense, no BS. And while I am one to politic, I appreciate the novelty of them understanding that they just want to play the game and move forward.
I hear you. So, like, it sounds to me like the two biggest issues to you are not just time, but the politics and the time sink that politics can be, right?
Yes.
So I'll shift over to Steve right now. So, Steve, like, is that your experience too, or like, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. Again, coming from an avid politician, I do understand that politics are obviously a very important part of the game. I don't think that politics I think politics, in my honest opinion, are a part of the game when it comes to cEDH. So obviously, over politicking can absolutely have an effect on the game. 100%. I don't disagree with that. There have been times where it's been 5-10 minutes. And I'm like, take a game action, take a game action, take a game action, because obviously everyone wants things to work in their favor. Totally understood. It's a goddamn game that you're trying to win. I wholly agree. I've been there. We've all been there. But like, yeah, politics can definitely be a big part of it. But I believe that being a part of the game is important, especially with, it's a social game. You're playing Commander. Commander is meant to be a social game, whether it be at the highest level or the lowest level. It is a social game nonetheless. So we use your social setting. I do appreciate and respect the Haruya, like over, in Japan. I know how they play, again, like you were saying, literally no BS, just play. I also appreciate that because that's in their, that's their social etiquette. That's their thing. Totally respectable. But if I'm going to be honest with you, when it comes to challenges, I think that the biggest challenge for me isn't even really in the game itself. It's lack of transparency in the format a lot of the time. I know in the last year and a half, obviously, without going too deep into the negative rabbit hole, we've had our situations with the bans, the da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And obviously there's been a fall off and a resurgence and this and that, and cEDH is dead, all the stuff online, all that bullshit. But like, obviously that's clearly not true. cEDH is alive and well and very strong. I think the meta is actually fantastic right now, minus Ristic, but that's my opinion. You know what I mean? But at the same on the same coin though, I think that the lack of real transparency from Wizards of the Coast, obviously they're trying, which I love, but like the real lack of transparency for a format that we all love and is growing, not to be really fully recognized really bothers a lot of players. And that's just, it's something like, hey, like, are we really ever going to be taken care of? Are we ever going to, honestly,
like,
we're the
redheaded
redheaded stepchild of Wizards of the Coast, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like, that's just what it is. And that's okay for now, but like, sooner or later you really got to push for more. And I feel like a lot of players
let me ask you, let me take that and put it on Jesse for a minute.
Sure.
How much of that problem do you think is because EDH and cEDH are really one format with a competitive end to it? And is there how do you go ahead?
It's really interesting because you guys bring up Japan a lot, and I think it's really indicative of like cultural differences, because cEDH is EDH, and EDH, whether we like it or not, is a social format.
It is.
There are social aspects of it, and I face down the power of friendship all the time when I play. It's usually 3v1 when I play, and it's just a part of the game that you kind of have to navigate. Like, that being said, I think that we need to go and we need to, as TOs, I think the important thing is, as we help the community grow, we also don't pigeonhole ourselves into what was. And we should always look to have a dialogue between TOs and say, hey, let's try to innovate. Let's try some stuff and like try a little bit here, a little bit there in our tournament formats to go and to bring more levity to the experience and to make the format feel more legitimate, right? Because nobody wants to go and feel like they're playing a competitive format, but then the competitiveness kind of gets detracted by a high amount of like over socialization. And there's, again, I don't think our format's perfect, and I don't think any format is really.
Yeah.
But that's why we have in 60 card formats. So I used to be a 60 card grinder, like hardcore way back in the day. We have rules changes and updates and stuff, and as long as we're not doing it excessively, I think it's one of the things that I look forward to as a TO is to be able to collaborate with other TOs and be like, hey, how about we try this for this tournament? And then we can go and help bring a more structure, taking it from like that cEDH to TEDH. Because it's hard to explain that to a lot of people who play cEDH. cEDH is a thing, but once you get into TEDH, it's a whole nother world. It's like the jump from casual to cEDH is like the jump from cEDH to TEDH. I think the biggest thing is making sure that people are aware that we are doing everything in our power to make sure that you walk away with an amazing experience. That's the only thing I care about as a TO. If you scrub out and you go 5-0 day one at our tournament, I want to see you say, man, I scrubbed out, but like you're laughing, you're having a wonderful time, because it's rough, dude. Like Heisenberg, I scrubbed out. I did horrible. The super slow, soupy mid-range meta obliterated me, and I know how that feels as a player. So as a TO, when I'm organizing a tournament, I constantly keep in the back of my mind, what am I doing to make sure all of our Swiss cheese is we're gonna have a good time afterwards, right? They're gonna go and like they're gonna have a blast. So bringing up your politicking, we actually do something a little fun here. It was my idea because I have really, really, really severe ADHD, like really bad, and I have severe time blindness. Like I live off of 20 alarms during my day. So, and a lot of people in cEDH, I feel like kind of suffer from the same thing. So what we do is we put stopwatches at every single table. And the minute somebody's like, I think this conversation is going too long, click. And then, so what it does is it gives a visualization, and it gives levity to the situation, because you're like, hey man, you've been talking for 3 minutes. Like, let's do something here. Because again, some people don't know that they're talking for 7 minutes ad nauseum, right? Like some people are just trying to be like, no, you don't destroy my heuristic study. I promise. It's the best thing ever. It's going to make sure that we can handle the Atali player. And we're like, hey, man.
No. So, DJ, you wanted to say something? Go ahead, DJ.
No, I that part I understand. So, to more or less to be specific, it's more of like as with everything in life, like I politic like crazy. People know me. I definitely
You know, no, never.
So
What?
So
You?
Like, I gotta play a game with you at some point because I'm the same kind of
I
person.
am.
Like we gotta play a
I
game
am.
together.
I also understand that things got to be done with moderation, and that's why, like, I believe in moderate politicking. I don't believe in over excessive, and I think, like, one of the things in which, to Jesse's point, I know a lot of people talk about that we should do things with like chess and whatnot, like in terms of like the chess clock and stuff like that. However, I also do.
I love chess clock.
Yeah, I'm
too old to play the chess clock.
and that's the thing. I think more than anything for us, and this goes to Jesse's point, us as TOs, we really do have a responsibility of being able to truly, when we know we want to be able to help engage and make the experience of the players well, it means that we also have to educate them and inform them. Meaning we got to tell them, hey, look, bro, if you felt like this, say something. If you think that, if even during the game, if whatever it is, just say something, because believe it or not, you may be on the right track for that. And that's why, like, I love cEDH, because now I see more how much that we're policing more of the game. Like, there's a lot more self-policing in cEDH.
100% been policed a lot more. Since, I'm not trying to bring it up again, love the man to death. Gold Saber, what a sweet man. Tim is, like, legit, always nothing but great to me. Just want to throw this out there. But obviously the 11-hour game, that happened since that game. Like the infamous 11-hour game. It has been a police thing.
I have two things to say about that. Okay, so first of all, judges are kind of the core to the policing, right? Having good judges that understand cEDH is like number one in making sure that 11-hour games don't happen, right? Because as players, I feel like we have to absolutely maximum, full optimization and get away with everything that we can within the rules most of the time, right? That's like kind of how we're playing the game. Like, if the rules allow me to do an action, I should feel free to do that action. And if that action is a problem, we need to use the rules to stop it, right? And use the judges to stop it, right? So that 11-hour game, I put on, the fact that, we didn't do judging correctly, right?
Yeah.
So, right, I really feel that's the case. And then
no, you're absolutely right. I just real quick, if you don't mind, before we jump off the topic, I truly do believe that regardless of that being the case, obviously you do get to the point where the over politics, again, as we've spoken about before, do come into play, because that's where the time was, a lot of it was wasted, which is perfectly understandable. You're trying to win a tournament, a big one, and it matters to the people playing it. At the same time, again, going back to what you're saying, that agreed. It's a full circle thing. The judges should have been taking control of that by the balls the whole time, but because it wasn't, I think it also shed a light on something that we've been having a problem with for a while, which is, again, the over politics, the this and that. And again, coming from a politician, talking like we all agree, even being politicians, it is too much. It is too much. You know what I mean? There's definitely a point where it's like, okay, let's fucking play the game. We're playing Magic the Gathering. It's a card game. Let's play some fucking Magic. I think that's important to remember, Go
ahead, Jesse. What were you gonna say?
And it's really hard too, because we know we have some examples of very well-known people who were known to politic very aggressively. But the thing is, when people are politicking, like, again, I was in a top 16 with Tim at Cradle of the Guild. He's a sweet guy, lovable guy, and when he's politicking, he is very nice. And the thing is, it's hard for some people to go and be like, hey man, I get that you're trying to say something and you're being really sweet and nice about it, but like, we got to keep things moving, and that's hard for some people to do too. Now. But shut the fuck
up. Stop being so nice and shut the fuck up.
No. But that's the thing. And to Jesse's point, I absolutely agree. It's hard. However, I also do think that, and this is where I say about being informed. Yo, just tell the judge and to make the judge do it. That way you're not the bad guy. Like, that's the point. Like, you're supposed to be able to do that.
Bro, it's so important to say when you're calling a judge, be like, hey, I'm sorry, but would you mind taking a seat or keeping an eye on this for a few minutes with us so you can see what's happening? That is so important, and people do not use the judges correctly a lot of the time. So if you're listening out there, cEDH players, if there's ever a problem, be like, judge, even if it doesn't feel like I said, like, it's nothing personal to your table.
No, call
you just
judges
say, guys, look,
all
I
the
just feel
time.
more comfortable with a judge here, please. Not against you guys. I just need a judge here.
Never
I was
afraid to judge.
I just re-sleeved my deck, and when I went to go and I fat fingered it and dropped a third of my deck on the floor, in the first 7 seconds of the round, and I was like, judge, and a lot of people were like, looked like immediately turned around and looked at me. But as somebody who works with a lot of works with a TO and now is a TO and who plays with judges and whatnot, a judge would much rather you go and say, hey man, I just dropped my deck, is it cool if I go in and pick it up and we can go and count and make sure all our cards are there?
Yes.
Because everybody was happy about it. They were like, hey man, I appreciate that. I really appreciate you going and doing that so we have more time to play. Because time extensions, sometimes they're just a thing that happens.
It makes a big difference.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And the thing is, what it does is it brings levity to the experience. And I think that we, as TOs, I think we all do our best to make sure our judges are compensated well and are taken care of. So we want them to take care of our players.
Yes.
We want them to go and make sure our players feel comfortable and feel heard. And sometimes there's tricky interactions, and we pay judges out of the pot so you guys can use them. So we want you to.
Not me, Jesse. Ritz crackers. Sleeve of Ritz crackers. That's all you get.
This brings perfectly to the second point I wanted to make about tournaments in general. And that is something that we all forget, is that everyone who's competing, everyone who's judging, everyone who's TOing, we're all humans. These are all humans.
Yeah.
And these events can be tremendously stressful for all parties involved. And we forget that. And we need to be able to make space to be human and to go through the emotions and the stresses of playing these tournaments. And I saw, when I was at Fishbowl, I really want to call it out, I saw a beautiful thing happen. It was in the top 16, and there was a player who just, the stress was clearly getting to them. There were a lot of emotions involved. And Hire took the time to walk him away from the table. They went outside, they took a little walk, they paused the game, everything stopped for a minute. And here's some space for you to feel all those emotions, calm down, and then get back into the game. And that's something that I don't think we do enough of in this community.
Hire's an amazing TO.
Yeah, no,
I was blown away by him. It was such an inspiring experience, because I've never met Hire before this first Fishbowl. That was my first ever Fishbowl, and every single interaction, I was just like, he just did it perfect. Everything. Like we had our round 4 game. We were all shuffling up, talking about how our game was going, and unfortunately, I was in the pod where somebody was accused of being a cheater and stacking their deck. And again, we were all just shooting the shit and shuffling up our decks, and we all thought we offered each other cuts. And turns out seat 4, the seat 4 player didn't, and he drew his first 7. And because people utilized the TOs and the judges correctly, Hire was like lightning. He just walked up and he's like, hey, I need to see your hand. And apparently the guy had like the same hand or similar hand 4 games in a row.
Yeah.
And he was playing Wheelie Odd, and he was presenting wins on turn 2. Which, if it happens once, if it happens once, like, awesome, you get the nuts, right? It happens twice, and especially in like, it's not wrong side, it's not like a deck that's like, this is what I do. It's just like, it was, and Hire handled it with such grace. He went, and again, he utilized his judges very well. He had one of the lower judges like sit with us and make sure that he was like, okay, we're just checking out the situation. Hire and the other judges took the actions that they deemed were appropriate, and they ejected that player from the tournament. But the whole entire time, the judges were like, we weren't really distraught or anything, but the judges made sure that they were like, hey, we take this seriously. We want you to know we take this seriously. We want everybody to take this seriously. And we're sorry that this is the situation that you guys were put in, and you guys were put into a 3-player game. And Hire was super cool. He gave us all playmats. And we were just like, oh, dude, like, that's not necessary. And he's like, no, you're going to be taken care of in my tournament. And I was just like, oh my god. And then
that's a good,
at the end of the
Hire's amazing. He's an amazing human being.
And
never really met the guy, honestly. I've heard nothing but good things though.
And then the redemption event, they were making announcements for it, and my friend Bryce was like, hey man, it's filled up, somebody should probably tell that. And then I see Hire, and I'm like, hey Hire, just letting you know, your redemption event is already past cap. And he's like, Oh, and in 5 minutes, like, stopped the guy. He went and he had it expanded. They added like another, I don't know, 20, 30 players, and it was just like smooth and just hats off to Hire, dude.
Yeah. And
He was
He
like,
does an amazing job.
it made me
Amazing
so
job.
excited to go and help throw this next to tournament and to try to go and give people the experience I had at Fishbowl.
And that's
You know,
So I have a
like-
2-part question,
Yeah.
DJ. I'm gonna ask 2-part question.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna actually ask the first part to Steve and the second part to you.
Okay, cool, no problem.
Okay. So the first part is, Steve, we're talking about cheating here. What can TOs do about cheating? Like, how bad is the cheating problem?
Actually, really glad you asked me this first, because I actually have a very strong point on fucking cheating. All right. So I was going to do an online thing for a while in the beginning of this year. So I was like, okay, how can I really stop cheating? I want to make that abundantly clear right off the bat. Like, okay, because we obviously know we have a problem with online cheating more than anything, because it's the easiest it can be. No one can really see what you're doing if you want to be that guy. Hopefully you aren't that guy, but some people are that guy. Let's be very real. So I had a rule that was basically like, if A, you are caught cheating, and I think this is important for all TOs, and I think it should be across the board, of course, it's just my opinion. First time caught cheating, automatic ban. There's no question. You are never coming back to one of my tournaments. I'm sorry, that's that. I understand, oh, we make mistakes. No, we're grown-ass people who are playing card games. If you are cheating in a card game when there is actual stakes on the line, you are banned. I do not care. And I am going to be completely honest with you. I, as a man, will call Stephen Baker, not the TO, but the man, will call your local game store and tell them that you're a piece of shit cheater. I don't care. I will actually do that. And I think that it should be more widespread. Like, I know it sounds super crude and crass, but like, I really believe you should be not like shamed, but they should know that you are cheating. Because God forbid you go back to this thing and you're ruining experiences for other people and other players. It's not fair to anybody.
Plus, like,
I think if you are a person cheating,
I-
you should be, that's that.
I
Goodbye.
agree.
I'm good.
Like, I
I'm
agree
sorry,
that we
dude.
should be, we should, as TOs, we should be like that. We shouldn't be so lenient. And I
Your
don't
mom.
think that.
I'll be your mom. I'll call the shop. Like, I'll do it.
To
Like,
add to Steve's point more or less, and this is the big thing that I think. I love the point that you made about being able to contact the store, because I think one of the big things for us as TOs is that we have to be able to start contacting other TOs. Because, okay, look, I honestly do believe, sure.
By the way, this is the second question I was going to ask you. By the way,
Go
is
ahead, no,
exactly this, which is how can TOs work with each other? That was what I was going to ask you. So
exactly. So my biggest thing, more or less, is that as a TO, right? I understand that if I catch somebody cheating, like I have a series right now in where we have ourselves a tournament circuit. We have plenty of different stores that we group with, that we work with, and all these stores, what they do is you can go and you can compete. We have Pennsylvania right next to us. We have Massachusetts. We have New York. We have a bunch of different states. And where somebody who's cheating can call in Jersey. Cool, you got labeled, you got penalized there, but you can go elsewhere. While I do believe more than anything, you should be definitely you should definitely be banned.
Steve's throwing people in the Boston
You're
Harbor.
gonna listen.
Boston Tea Party 2, baby. It's over. You're fucking.
You're penalized. You're banned for a duration of time, right? And at that point, I should be able to go tell other TOs, hey, look, here's what happened. This is the evidence that shows that this gentleman cheated. I need this gentleman to be able to feel the weight and levity of their choices.
Yes, it should be across the fucking board.
Across the board, and then from there, I should be able to go tell
agreed.
a TO in New York, a TO in Arizona, Massachusetts, everywhere. I should be able to tell them, look, this gentleman had done this during my tournament. This is the evidence, and at this point, please refrain from having this gentleman in your tournament, because guess what? Here's the thing, and this is the thing, here's the issue that I don't think that TOs recognize. TOs may not talk to each other, but players do. And because players do, guess what?
Sure, right,
if somebody said, oh yeah, that person got banned from Steve's place, but he's playing over at DJ's tournament, that seems unfair. The players are gonna go rabble and talking about it, and what happens? That ruins our ability to provide the best experience for the players. So guess what?
Exactly.
It also ruins our own reputation to a point, because realistically now you're being undermined by people. Like, don't get me wrong, nobody owes me anything. Like, if I were to say, hey, I banned somebody, I was like, DJ or Jesse, please, like, don't, and you did let them in because it's whatever the reason may be, that's your right. but it does not look good for me by any stretch of the imagination when you're letting a guy, like, I mean, let's be very, very honest here. I'm not going to put names out there because we don't need to, but anyone who even keeps up with anything, we know there's been some things in the past few months with certain players, and at the end of the day, man, they were allowed to play in other places when, I hate to say this, like, I don't know from a hole in the goddamn wall what's true and what's not. I'm not going to sit here and say I do, but if there is someone who says I have irrefutable evidence that this person is doing this, or it's happened so many damn times that it's obviously not a freaking accident at this point, let's be very real, you should pretty much sway with them. Just because you're your boy, that doesn't mean you should be playing in the damn tournament. I'm sorry. If you want to be a legitimized TO, be a part of the community, not that.
Go ahead.
I absolutely
I Jesse something.
Yeah, exactly. Because I absolutely agree. Because at the end of the day, yes, that's your boy, but what you're doing is you're ruining the very fabric of trust with the community. Because at the end of the day, if you're truly trying to ensure that you want to create the best experience for your players and you want them to be able to come to your events, there's a level of uniformity that has to come across the board. And that's the only reason why, yes, of course, cool, whatever. You ban him for a year, maybe 2, whatever it is, the duration of time people agree upon, you go from there. But the point is that there's got to be a level of unification that goes across the board with everyone. Because at that point,
so that leads perfectly. That leads perfectly to what I want to ask Jesse, and that is like, okay, we're talking about banning people. Is there a path to redemption for people who've cheated?
I think that is. I love that question, because I think one of the biggest things that we need to do as TOs is we need to give people chances. In our community, we have a pretty simple system. If you are caught, like, and it's not just cheating, we take certain things very seriously. One thing is we don't like excessive corner shooting. If you're just corner shooting, you're asking, like, and you're just trying to, like, corner shoot to go and get every single angle, and you're doing it a dozen times in a game, we think that's not healthy for the format. Because nobody's going to want to sit down at the table and deal with Jimmy, the corner shooter, like, trying to play pool or playing cEDH, right? Like, nobody's going to want to go and be like, Judge, if you look at this judge ruling right here under section, like, what does it have to do with him tapping a door? Shut up. Like,
Jesse, I'm sorry to interrupt. I do have to ask a serious question. This is not a joke. I don't know what the fuck angle shooting actually means.
Okay, so
I can give you an example.
Yeah, please, Max.
Yeah, go for it.
Because Max would be the best. Yeah.
I'll give you a perfect example. So
please.
So someone plays a Wish Call Talisman on a turn, and they forget to put the die on the Wish Call Talisman, indicating 3 counters.
Oh, they're bending the rules into their favor.
Well,
okay.
So, and then 2 turns later, well, let me get to it. Two turns later,
all right, fair enough,
they go to activate the Wish Call Talisman, and another player says, you didn't put any counters on that Wish Call Talisman, you can't activate it.
That the person, yeah, that's corner shooting.
Oh, yeah, okay, no, that's horseshit.
No, and luckily
yeah,
we have a absolute mensch of a fucking judge. His name's Eric Lee, and I had a corner shooting incident happen to me at I don't know if it was Cradle to the Guild or the tournament we did before that, but I went and I tapped a Delighted Halfling and I cast an Ashaya, and then
they say it was for legendary mana, blah blah.
And then he goes and he says, okay, cool, I'm gonna cast Force of Will, and I was like, all right, anybody have any responses to Force of Will? And then they're like, no. And I was like, okay, cool, it resolves. And then I go and I put it down. And what he does is he's like, you didn't declare that you were using it for legendary mana. And I was like, call a judge. And what he was doing was he was trying to bully me into going and doing that. And the thing is that luckily I've been playing this game for a very long time, and I play with very, very technical players, and had literally tabbed for this. He was like, and he just points to the ruling. He's like, whenever you tap a source for mana, it assumes that it is the most specific mana for that object, unless noted otherwise. Like, so if you go, so for all you cEDH players, if you tap a Delighted Halfling and cast a legendary spell, you don't need to declare that you're tapping it for legendary. It will be assumed.
Yeah.
To know, because actually, believe it or not, that's news to me. I'm not even joking. So that's great
to
know.
The thing is, it's the most complex game on the planet. So like,
I do like to. I will say it. You gave me a good judge ruling tonight about the whole tapping for the most efficient mana source. That's actually very good
most
so
specific.
Reference.
Yeah,
specific. Yeah.
But Road to Redemption. What about redemption? Like, what about for cheaters?
So for redemption, this is how we do it. usually, so if we see behaviors, especially when we're very big about gently but firmly policing our own community, especially if we see like bad behaviors, like not just cheating, but like crashing out, excessive angle shooting, stuff, aggressive pulse fixing. What we'll do is, especially if it's one of our friends, we'll be like, hey man, we're not banning you, we're not doing anything, but we're going to say, we need you to take we're going to recommend that you take like a 12-week leave. You can play, but just be aware that a lot of us are probably not going to want to play because you've been exhibiting really bad behaviors, and we want to make sure that we're not reinforcing these bad behaviors. If it's at a tournament and somebody's caught cheating, it's an instant 1-year ban. 1 year, and then so the way that we do it is 1-3-5. So if you get caught cheating, legitimately unrefutable cheating in one of our tournaments, you're banned automatically for 1 year, because we want you to be like, hey man, was it worth it? Was it worth losing out? Because we throw a lot of tournaments. We throw a lot of locals. We have 2 to 3 tournaments a month, and we go and we communicate with even one of our TOs in Tucson, and we'll tell them, and they work with us. So they'll be like, nah, sorry, we don't want you here either. And just like how you guys were saying,
that's good. That's very good.
That is very good. That is
and then
1 year,
what happens,
3 years, then 5 years. Is there permanent? So they like, for me, 5 years is
5 years is like, dude, homie, 5 years is basically permanent. Like if you're banned for something,
do you mind me asking? I'm very sorry to interrupt. Do you mind me asking though, while we're on this like specific time frame thing, and this is more, I guess, more of a moral question. Do you think that maybe after the 1 year and they got caught again, that should just be a lifetime? Just from like my perspective, like if you've had a year to sit back and say, okay, maybe I made a mistake, and obviously as human beings, again, going back to Max's point, we are all human beings, so we all make mistakes. We've all done some dumb shit in our lives. Sure, maybe their dumb shit is playing a game of Magic and trying to cheat.
Yeah, well, we also don't
all
just
had that moment.
We don't also just count cheating. So we count like things like severe crash outs. If you a good example is, we had a player and he crashed out during one of our open play nights, and he didn't cheat, he didn't do anything like that, but what he did was he just kind of like threw his deck on the table, and we were like, and we want to nip all sorts of bad behavior in the bud. So it's not just cheating. You start like having a full-blown red face screaming match with somebody.
I would say that there's a finer line when it comes to crashing out, right? Because then there is with cheating, because cheating is like a big, thick, fat, black line. There's no confusion. Whereas crashing out, like I borderline crash out all the time, but I do it in a nice way.
To that point, I do think that you're absolutely correct about it being a distinct line, because look, when we obviously us getting emotional and us getting chalked up because we love the game as much as we do and we're passionate about it, clearly there's going to be high tempered emotions involved. However, with cheating, there's a level of intention. There's a level of this that you decided, you made a conscious choice in this moment, in your clearest of minds, that you decided you wanted to be able to bend the rules or break the rules in a way to be able to do it. And that's why I'm actually agree with Steve on this one. No, if you get caught once, cool, I'll ban you for a year.
Well, I'll be straight. I'll be straight with you. A year's not even enough for me. For me, my personal opinion is, you get caught cheating once, it's an 18-month ban, because it should be
18 months
incredibly painful. It should be incredibly painful. And
I think 18 months actually sounds pretty good.
18 months.
The thing is, we don't have a lot of people in our community that we've had to deal with cheating. So it's not a big thing that comes out.
I haven't really.
And I guess one of the reasons why we go and I'm a little bit more lenient is because we're pretty strict about game rule violations, and sometimes people can look at them in the same purview, because sometimes game rule violations, like sometimes people go and they do something and we don't know if they're doing something intentionally as game rule violation. But what we can do is if somebody called a judge and then they're like, oh, my bad, I didn't know, we're not like, we're like, okay, just letting you know, that's a game rules violation. That's one. And the thing is that sometimes a lot of really good cheaters, they'll do things that are very, very, very subtle. And
That's true. That's true.
Can think
before we go too far here, I agree with everything you're saying. There is, you have like I guess I'm incorrect in saying that it's a thick black line, because there is some blur. There's absolutely some blur when it comes to intentional or unintentional actions, and when is breaking the rules cheating, when it's on purpose or not on purpose. There is some mix there. In my mind, there's a difference though with that than there is with blatantly stacking your deck or shuffle cheating,
for sure,
or taking extra mulligans or whatever. But I agree with everything you're saying. I think you're right. The other thing I want to correct a little bit also is where I was joking about crashing out, and I think that it's all fun and games, and it's fine to be sad, it's fine to be salty, but there is definitely a line when you cross over into making your opponents and your friends feel intimidated or feel uncomfortable, or feel unsafe.
Absolutely.
And to me, that's a line that we have to have, as strict a stance on as we do with cheating, right? Because
I'll be honest. Like, I'm guilty of maybe getting a little too salty in the past, and I've been there, and I'm sure we all have one way or another. I mean, we're all again, we're human beings in an emotional setting because we want to play this game that we love, and we're getting fucking boned. You know what I mean? Like, in the moment, like, so we feel that, and like, obviously, that is something as an adult you need to learn to control. And like, even with one of my, again, going back to the person Leah who we spoke about earlier, I had a game with them about 3 weeks ago. I didn't feel great about myself after that game. I'm like, Leah, I'm so sorry. That was maybe a little too much from but we all get there, and like, it is important to be able to understand and know that, like, again, I think, Max, I really do believe you had the right thing when you said earlier, like, we are all just human beings.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, it doesn't matter the hierarchy of whatever, me being the owner of the store, to the TO, to the I am still me at the end of the day. I am sitting in my home as a human being, just like we all are, or doing something at the end of the day. You are hosting your podcast, but you are still a human being with a life. We all have our emotions that we all deal with in many, many different ways. And I think that's very important to also recognize. But as adults, we also do need to also realize, like, we have to have some emotional stability in those emotions that you're putting out there, which I agree with. The whole crash out thing is very important, Jesse. And, you need to make sure that you have that under control as well.
So DJ, make one more point, and then I'll ask a totally different question.
Absolutely. I just wanted to add to that. I think that's why I know Hire showed a really good example in where you're doing something to be able to cater to your people. You're humanizing them. You're understanding who they are as individuals and truly be able to cater to that. And I think that's a hallmark of a really great TO, and I think that's something all TOs should strive for. Max, what's the next question? I'm actually curious. What's the next question?
The next question, because we're getting kind of late here. So
sorry.
I want to ask kind of a question.
Here, what are you talking about? It's like, I still have another 2 hours in me.
Dude, I'm dying. It's midnight. Literally just hit midnight.
Yeah, it's midnight. Yeah.
I'm gonna start with Jesse this time. From a TO perspective, things keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger. All right, we're now looking at 20K events being basically the standard. We're seeing 200 to 300 players being normal. All right, where's the limit here? Is there a ceiling to this? Like, are we going to hit the wall at some point?
If I can go and collaborate with my TOs and my TO buddies and the group of content creators, I want a convention. I want to go and rent out Vegas. I want it to be Scrub Fest 2030, where it doesn't matter how many times you scrub out, there's another event. I want the cEDH TOs to do what Command Zone did for EDH. I want us as a network to go and make it like, if there's like ever some sort of weird PAX Unplugged, like, oh yeah, we're having a cEDH tournament. I want there to be teams from Korea sponsored by Samsung. I want
that'd be lit. No.
Damn right, Jesse. Damn right.
That would be lit. No, that would be dope. Oh my, you mean tell me, if we had teams like how they have in like League of Legends, and where they would
have people fucking sick.
That would be dope. Honestly, that would be dope. And I think that is indeed like you said about it, the ceiling. If knowing. Hatter had mentioned a good thing where he said that he would love to see $1 million event, like $1 million cash prize event. That would be letting me know that we really.
Did he really say that? Like, that was like I didn't know that.
He said that, like, on the channel when he said that, like, I'd love to see $1 million event. If we had $1 million event, That I think would show how much that we've become legitimized. But more than anything, I'd love to see where I would love to see where
honestly 100K like if you're talking about like when it comes to hobbies and sports and stuff, once you hit like 6-digit prizing, like think about all our homeboys who play like fighting games, right? Like in all
Street
of our
Fighter,
like,
Mortal Kombat, or like anything along those.
Those prizing pools, they're not that insane. But if we ever see a 6-digit prizing pool for a fighting game, we're like, wow, this is legit. This is great. And
Jesse, I just want to say real quick. Any 4 or 5 TOs, like I've talked with someone about this, want to connect and make that happen. I'm just throwing this out there. We're on the pod. I would literally have a conversation about it and try to make it happen like logistically. I would do a legitimate 100K. People can afford the 100K. I'm not just saying that because we're on a podcast and we're talking, we're having a good time. I've talked with someone about this.
No,
Let's
for sure. And
talk and reach out to me if you see me. Like, that's all I'm saying. We can make something happen. I think it'd be sick.
What I would want to see in terms of the 100K, right, is where we have something equivalent to the Pro Tour. And we're technically, so obviously, I rep Jersey, right? And I know he's recently just made a circuit for California. And I know a lot of
I have a circuit in New England right now doing the King of New England shit.
It's actually a part of Best in the West.
Exactly.
We are a part of that circuit.
There you go. Yeah.
So imagine, right, that we all have circuits, and we take the best players from those people. And obviously, we're all contributing to the pot. And from that point forward, we would have like 100K where we have like the best players of every single region or every single state or whatever competing in that type of prize. That, I think, would show how much
Wizards of the Coast could literally not ignore it at that point. When no matter how much they want to push, they could actually not. Like, yo, these people are like actively doing this on their own without us. And yeah,
for real, that's the one thing that scares me as a TO though, because I used to be a 60-card grinder, and it gets really weird. Like, we're very blessed that cEDH is still considered like a player curated format, because we can go and make up rules whenever we want. We can go and be like, dude, for our tournament, we're gonna go and try this out. And also, I'm very aware of people's situation in this country, and I don't want anybody to be priced out of our game. I like
the proxy conversation.
100%. The proxies are very needed. Just to be clear,
I gotta opine my piece on this a little bit. I gotta say something about that. First of all, I'm a person who I own all my cards, right? I have proxies for duplicates, so I can have extra decks, but I own all the cards that I play. Having said that, I don't want people to be limited by their wallet in what they play in tournaments.
Absolutely.
However, I gotta say a little bit more. There is room in our format for there to be some amount of non-proxy events that are sponsored by Wizards, right? I think we have room for that without. It just can't become. It just can't be the normal. It can't be the right. It should be that everyone can compete with a few exceptions.
So Jesse, I know I can feel where you're coming from. Real quick, I just want to like cull some of that. I think I know where you're getting from. Like, okay, but if Wizards takes control of this, or they get more of a feel on this, they're going to be like, it's going to be non-proxy because it's their cards, which I respect. It's their literal intellectual property. I cannot be upset about that if that were to happen. However, that doesn't change the fact, like, perfect example, I guess, when they made the announcement like a year and some change ago, being like, oh, like, we're gonna, if it's this kind of event, it can't be proxy. And I had a bunch of people come up to me like, oh, does that mean you can't do proxy anymore? I'm like, no, that just means I won't use their Wizards event link, because I can still make my events the way I want to make them. So that's gonna happen no matter what. You know what I mean? Like, that doesn't matter. Like,
I don't think we need to be scared. I don't think we need to worry.
Not even a little.
I don't
There's
think
no fear there. There's no.
I understand where you're coming from. I've thought about it a lot. Like, it is one of those things where, like, please don't let this become the normal. But I really don't see that happening.
I think if Wizards gets a grasp of it, I think it'll be good for our format. I know I might be in the minority here, but I actually think it'll be good for the format.
I agree with you as well too on that in terms of being good, because I do believe that at a certain point we would have the ability and the sway to be able to tell them it's either this or we're not involved. because we know how big it is. We know that we understand the levity. We understand how
We've organically built it realistically.
So there's
we haven't even begun to explore creative options.
Exactly.
Anyway, like there's ways to make it work.
So that's the only reason why I'm saying that, like, if we were to indeed be able to create something that was akin to that, like being able to say something where every single person, you have a person who wins from Jersey, a person who wins from New England, a person who wins from the West, all that kind of stuff, and being able to create that really great event, one where there's like huge cash prizes and stuff like that, and legitimizes us, I think that would really be the best direction. And from that point on,
let's talk soon. That's all I'm saying. Like, I literally talked to him about a month ago. I haven't talked to you about this, Max, but we'll have a conversation now that's been on the podcast. We can all, as a whole, find a central spot. Let's all get a little vacation day in 2027 or 2026. Let's all get a big ass tournament going and work together. I mean, realistically, we're not losing any money by getting everybody together, man. Like, we're all
right.
Yeah, sorry, my bad. Go ahead.
Excellent. No, excellent. But like, I feel like we could talk about this for like another 4 hours. It'd be easy.
Yeah, we could. No, we've
only scratched the surface,
and we want to sleep at some
We've only scratched the surface. Like, we might have to do a part 2 of this, right?
Yeah.
There's so much more to cover.
I'm down for that.
Yeah, we could do that. But I hope that the people watching this get how passionate these guys are. These are the people who we're putting ourselves into their hands to make this format grow, to make these events happen. And if you're looking at them the way I'm looking at them, I'm like, holy shit, we did it. We're in good shape. Yeah. We're in good shape. Because you guys, I love talking to you. Like, the passion is real, how much you're into this. And I hope everyone watching, go participate in these tournaments, go sign up, come play with us. cEDH is hopping.
We love all you bitches.
No, we love you. Yeah, exactly. No, we want make it grow. I want more people to compete, more people to play. Bring your friends, bring your aunties, uncles, everybody. I want everybody to play.
Yeah, bring your ex-girlfriends, even though they might have cheated, but that's okay. They mean well. Bring them anyway.
Thanks so much for taking the time to talk to me tonight. I know it's late.
Thanks for having
me. Everyone
man.
except for Jesse.
Awesome.
No, thanks, Sam.
Yeah. I can't help that I play sax. Okay, that's all I play.
Yeah, it's okay. You stop at Talia, so I love you. So it's fine. It's fine. But if you guys enjoyed this, if you want to see part 2, comment below and say, let's bring on part 2. Please please subscribe. Come join the Discord. We've got all these different Discords. I'll put them out there, like in the description below. We got King's Court Gaming. We got we got New Jersey cEDH. We got what was the one you called, like Jam? What was the one?
We have
the D-Grid.
We have the AZ cEDH Discord, and we also have a few Discords for our stores as well, like Gamers Guild and stuff. So we have we have 4.
So all of that shit will be in the description below. So go click on those links. Go check us out. And thanks so much for joining. And we'll see you next time.
Yeah.